Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. After 19 long days, we've got a Premier League game of football, James. Welcome, Mr. Flower, the Sun fan club leader. How are you, sir? Are you good?
I'm very well. All things not Tottenham, mate, I feel fantastic.
Yeah, good.
How about yourself?
Yeah, listen, I always feel good. I know people feel like I probably shut down my stream and then go and rock myself to sleep because I'm so angry with the world. I'm just angry with Tottenham Hotspur. Mate, it feels like forever since we played Fulham, doesn't it? It feels like forever.
Yeah, I'm one of these people that would, even if we're losing, I still love Tottenham Hotspur. So I would much rather watch us play and lose than not watch us play at all. So for me, yeah, I'm glad. Well, famous last words. I'm glad to have us back on the telly tonight.
Yeah, oh mate, it's and listen, I mean, we've waited 19 days, and the first game we jumped back to, we'll talk about it. Chelsea away. If I'm not wrong, I think it's one win at Stamford Bridge in 34 seasons. Bearing in mind I'm 42, so like in my lifetime, I can remember watching one win at Stamford Bridge, and that was the Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen. I think they both got really good goals in that game, if I remember rightly. Chelsea away. This isn't Chelsea of old, James. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my God, it's Lampard and Terry and Drogba. But Chelsea they've got a game in hand. They were fourth going into last night's games. They are better than us. What on the cold face of things, do you want to be playing Chelsea after a 19-day layoff, or is this just a game that you write off because of our history against them?
What there's obviously there's two ways to look at that. One is there's no excuses. Well, there will be. It's like we haven't played in 19 days, but for me, there's no excuses. They've had time to rest. They've had time to prepare. They know what Chelsea. Well, they should know what Chelsea are going to bring. But if I'm basing this Chelsea team on obviously the one-off game, I think that this Chelsea team is more like, I don't know, nemesis than in the previous. And by that I mean is they're solid at the back now and they hit us on the counter attack. So for me, I actually think, regardless of players, because obviously you can't compare them to Lampard, Drogba, so on and so on. Yeah. I think the way that they set up tonight could be, A, we'd have to break them down, which we struggle to do, and B, we get caught on the counter because of our high line. So I'm not too confident, to be honest. I think this is probably one of the most times I'm like, we're going to get to lose, so just take the loss and move on.
Yeah, I feel like it's difficult, isn't it? Because lots of people have said what they always say. Oh, we've had a nice long break. He's been able to get them on the training pitch. Everyone's back fit. But more often than not, we kind of know what we're going to see on the pitch, right? It's not like we've ever had a break, James, come back and gone, oh, they've worked on that. Oh, he's put the fullback in. You know what I mean? It feels like, does it matter that we've had an international break? Does it matter that he's had a week with these players on the training pitch? I'm not sure it does.
Oh, I don't think it does. And it's very wasn't it the Champions League final where we had 2 weeks and Liverpool had like 5 days or something? Wasn't there a big gap in difference? So for me, it just puts more pressure on the team to get a result, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is one, and pressure and Tottenham kind of don't go. So for me, I mean, me personally, I can't see us winning. But there is that thing in the back of my mind. You think, could Ange just pull this out of the hat, and then everyone goes, Ange in, see, you can see what he's doing. There's progress, and that is a side where I think there's a chance. But my head says, if you're basing the football on what you see, there's no chance. But there is something in there going, this is kind of an Ange sort of victory here, and everyone jumps back on board with it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're absolutely right. As I said at the beginning, I look at this Chelsea team and go, they can be got at. Like this Chelsea team can be beaten. I think if I'm not wrong, let me just double check this. In their last 6 Premier League games, they've won 3, lost 3. So this isn't a team where you go, they're formidable. But it's also more about us. Like, I feel like when I'm making predictions about Spurs these days, it's more about, I don't know what us we're going to get? Are we going to get the Spurs that went to Man City? And it feels like a very long time ago now. Are we going to get the Spurs that went to Man City, dug in, hit them on the counter and won 4-0? Or are we going to get the Spurs that opened up and let Liverpool score 6 and maybe should have scored 12? You know, I never know which Spurs you're going to get. And unfortunately, as the season's gone on, James, it feels like we're just slowly getting worse. It feels like, and I know the ready-made excuses, the league doesn't matter. I don't subscribe to that at all. There's 9 Premier League games left. You know, that's nearly a quarter of a season. So, look, surely for us, the fans, they've got to go out there tonight and put a bit of fight in and show some character, haven't they? For us, if anything.
For me, people that say the league don't matter, I would say, okay, maybe the league position as a final outcome doesn't matter, maybe. But for me, if you win tonight and then beat Southampton and then you're going into Frankfurt with those 2 wins under your belt, me personally, I think we beat Frankfurt if we win both these games beforehand, because I personally believe momentum, then you're going to get the best Tottenham. If you lose these 2 in the league and then go, they're only league, you're then going into Frankfurt with 2 losses. And then for me, that's just criminal. That is game over before we've started, because that's how I think football's best. Wasn't it Harry Redknapp said, you always want to play games after a win. You never want to have a long break after a loss. I think it's something along those lines. And that is, for me, is why the league is so important. If we go out and put a couple of good results in, play Frankfurt, get a good result against Frankfurt, you then go on again. For me, it's like, okay, you're let's go. Let's see what you can do, Spurs. Let's go for it.
See, what I don't like about this whole the league doesn't matter now, because somebody posted yesterday. It was sent through to me. It was like on an X page or something. Someone said, get your excuses ready. And the 5 excuses they had ready was 1, Kulu's not playing tomorrow night. 2, the league doesn't matter. 3, we never win at Chelsea anyway. Like all these excuses. For me, if we're going to turn around and say we can win the Europa League, sure, then show us in the Premier League. Like you can't just say, well, the players get a pass and the manager gets a pass for 9 Premier League games as long as we win the Europa League. I don't quite understand what thought process that is. I don't know what that's saying as a mindset and as a philosophy, that don't worry about this. We just care about that cup. I don't know. I don't get it.
But isn't it? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it most Ange fans that are saying that? It is most Ange fans that are saying that. And so what I would say to them is, could you please go back and listen to what he said before Man City of last season, where he said, I want to win football matches. Every win, every game is a match that I should be going in and winning. So these Ange fans are now going against their manager by calling him a liar and what he believes is wrong, and that they want him to do something different.
Yeah, but that manager, I don't call him my manager. He's not my manager. I don't want him at the club at all.
Yeah.
That same manager has said last year, we were compromised. What did he say? He said, it's detrimental that we only play once a week. We need to be playing more games. This week, he's coming out, talking about, we underestimated having to play twice a week and in Europe. And you're like, hang on. All season, right? This is what I don't get, James. All season, right? Football players, football managers, pundits, fans, we all sit there and talk about the race for Europe, don't we? Who's going to get Europe? If we win 3 of the next 5, we definitely get Conference League. But if we win 4, we get Europa League. And so we do all this. Then in the next season, it's, but we have to play twice a week. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. If you qualify for Europe, you play twice a week. And then those same fans start trying to shift it into, we play 3 games a week. No one plays 3 games a week. No one's playing. You play 2 games a week. And do you know what I mean? If you don't want to play twice a week, because that's the excuse. When I say, look at Brighton, look at Bournemouth, look at Brentford, look at Palace, look at Newcastle. Yeah, but they only play once a week, right? But if they get into Europe, they'll be playing twice a week next week. Like, James, it blows my mind. It blows my mind, mate.
Yeah, the guy is a walking contradiction, and there is so many that we could just list time after time after time. So, like exactly what you said there, I've said there. What about the most important one for me is I will the fans will let you know if I've had a good season or if I'm a success or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
why are you arguing with the fans? Why are you calling out fans? Why are you saying we need to back the team? We are telling you that you're shit. Listen
Paying
to us.
fans, paying fans are saying to you at the stadium, "This is crap," and you, have a bit of respect. Hang on, mate. You didn't have any respect when you had a go at fans last year, and I just every time he's in a press conference, I just look at I don't watch them, but obviously all of the quotes just fly around WhatsApp groups, and I'm looking at these quotes going, mate, that's not what you said. You said at the beginning of the season, we're ready. You're happy with the squad. And if I'm not wrong, James, if I'm not wrong, I'm sure there was a quote that said, there's no reason this team can't challenge. Right? Fast forward to April, and it's, well, I know we've not had a good time in the league. Yeah, we underestimated it. Sorry, you underestimated what? You knew I don't, mate.
But again, for me, if he wasn't so arrogant, if he actually come out and said, "Look, I know we've had a really bad season in the Premier League. I'm working on it. I'm trying new things. I'm trying." You know what I would say? You're still a twat, but fair play. You've acknowledged that your system don't work, and you're going to have a look at things. That's all I can ask for. But to sit there and go, "Yeah, we haven't had a good season, have we, mate?" No, we ain't. No. Well done.
Yeah. Mate, I find it so funny. What I also find funny is anyone who is an Ange in fan automatically thinks that all the Ange out fans have the same opinion on absolutely everything. So I'm seeing people out there saying, Savva wanted Spurs to lose to Man City last year, so Arsenal didn't win the league. James, no one can find any clip footage anywhere of me saying that because you know why? I didn't say it, right? I didn't say it, but we get lumped in, right? Look, for me, I want to see tonight, if we get back to the game, I want to see tonight that, all right, we've had a 19-day break, right? I want to see that this guy has worked on something. I want to see that the fullback isn't miles up the pitch when Jadon Sancho picks up the ball on the left wing and has the freedom of Stamford Bridge to run at us. I want to see that Van der Ven and Romero aren't on the halfway line when we lose the ball in midfield. I want to see these things. I want to see that we are well drilled. I want to see that we do move the ball quicker than the snail pace that we play at. But it's going to be the same, isn't it? Even if we win, it will be the same, won't it? Or do you have any hope that something will be worked on?
I mean, I don't know. It's like predicting it. I have no idea what Tottenham's going to turn up. For me, I believe that there are players in this squad that can win this game, and that's what I believe. So whether it's Ange's system or not, I do believe if Maddison steps up, if Solanke sticks in the box, I believe that. I mean, Bentancur's done nothing this season, but I do believe there's a player in there in the right system. Basuma, same thing. Porro, same thing. So I believe if these players step up, we can win the game. Do I believe that Ange's tactics can win us the game? Probably not. No, because he showed me more times than not that we ain't capable of beating teams. So therefore, if you're going by evidence and facts, you have to judge what you see. And therefore, no, I don't think he is going to change. I don't think that there is anything that we're going to do tonight to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was looking at Chelsea, Chelsea's form, and they're struggling for goals a bit lately. Chelsea, they are. If I go back to their results in the last. Well, this is what I was going to come on to. If we look at their last 4 games in all competitions, so they lost 1-0 to Arsenal. They got 1 goal against Copenhagen, 1 goal against Leicester, 2 against Copenhagen away. All right, Chelsea versus Southampton's a bit of an anomaly at 4-0. They got 1 against Villa, none against Brighton, 1 against Brighton. 1 against City. So this isn't a free-flowing scoring Chelsea team. But lo and behold, James, reading the team news, Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson both back tonight to face Tottenham.
And Madueke, is Madueke as well? Is he back as well?
And apparently Madueke's back. Is this going to be the classic case of Dr. Tottenham? Because this season, just 2 examples, you've seen Spurs played Leicester and Jamie Vardy hadn't scored for like 11 games. What happened? Yep. And then we played Everton. Do you remember? And Dominic Calvert-Lewin had gone, was it 17 Premier League games without a goal?
Yeah.
It's got Palmer and Jackson written all over it, isn't it? If we're going to be cynical.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, again, repeating what we've been saying all season, but with no number 6 and giving Cole Palmer the freedom of the park, I think we're going to really struggle if he starts. And the last time they play us, that they do score against us, and that's only confidence building for them as a whole. I don't know. It's such a this Tottenham is the only Tottenham that I really have no idea. We could go and win 3-0 tonight, and I'd be like, I was so wrong. But then we could go and lose 5-0. I generally have no idea, and that's what I find most frustrating. Is how can you have a conversation on Tottenham when you have no idea what's going to happen? I mean, some people call it exciting. For me, I call it depressing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, one of the key things you just mentioned there, I talked about this a lot in the first game when we played them. I'll always call it White Hart Lane. What was it, 4-3 in the end? And it was about the space that we give players. And the thing is, a player like Cole Palmer, there's not many of them in the Premier League. That player, whether he drifts from the right, whether he's in the centre, in the number 10 position, if you give a player like Cole Palmer that much of the football, James, he's going to hurt you. It doesn't mean that every pass he tries is going to come off, but one of them will. One of his long-range shots will. One of his through balls will work. And the worry for me is we don't tend to say, like top clubs will go, I don't know, just back in the day, Liverpool, Henderson, Mark Palmer. Don't let him make your sight follow. We don't do that. That's my worry, is that Palmer's going to have the freedom of Stamford Bridge.
Same as even the not so great. I mean, Tottenham, we had your Sandros, your Wenyamas, your Huddlestones. It's like, look, your job now is to leave one on him and then stick by him the whole game. Let him know that you're there. And for me, I don't think that we have that in Basuma. I don't think we have that in Bentancur. Definitely not Sarr. I mean, Sarr maybe could keep up with him for leg, but brain mentality, I think he's miles off of it. So,
yeah,
I think Cole Palmer's a fantastic player, and I think he's one of those players that if he shows up, he wins the game. I mean, look, everyone knows what I think of Son, but I also think if Son turns up and brings back Son 2 years ago, he could win us the game. So it's not like, it's only a one-way street.
Oh,
Son turns up and rolls back the year 2 years, I would definitely say we could win the game. But it's hard.
But at the same time, let me flip this. I feel that we've got a Palmer to a degree. We've got a Maddison that can unlock defences. The difference is when I watch Chelsea almost say to Palmer, we don't need you in our own half. Like when I watch Chelsea, they let Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, they let them, funnily enough, do centre mid things. Yeah, if we're going to talk baby terms, they let centre mids do centre mid stuff, right? And then Palmer's the icing on the cake. We seem to go, right, Maddison, we know you're a playmaker, but I'll tell you what, mate, could you possibly, we spend so much time with the ball at the back, could you possibly come and get the ball from these guys at the back? And I truly believe if you get Maddison in those positions and you get Son making those runs off him, you get, like you alluded to earlier, you get Solanke in the box. You get whoever's on the right-hand side, Odegaard, giving... Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you've got Maddison in that 10, and you've got Son making runs that way, Odegaard making runs that way, and Solanke making runs that way, options, I don't think there's a lot wrong with this Spurs squad. I know that sounds mad, James, and we sit here and debate it all. I don't think it takes a lot to turn us into a very good football team. But he does the one thing that lots of managers in world football do now. He overcomplicates what is a very simple game. I truly believe we can hurt them. I do.
100%. I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. The last time we was on here, I can't remember what game it was, but Maddison come in for a hell of a lot of stick, and I said, go back and watch it. He takes a touch, he turns, scans, nothing, turn back. Okay, and that's what you're going to get. You don't get much more from Maddison, and I say that very, very lightly because turning, looking, and finding that pass is all I want from Maddison, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
that's what you
that
bought him
is
for.
that's for me where the big money is. There's only,
Right.
and I mean, if you go back it over the years, you know, Ozils, Ericssons, De Bruyne's, Maddison's. Not saying he's on their level, but you pay for the ability to turn on a 50 pence piece and play a pass. That's what you're paying for. So what we're saying is, forget everything you're good at, mate, and now come and drop back at CDM. Same for Solanke. Last season, 20 goals in the box. No. You're not good there. Drop back at centre midfield for us, please. Hold on a minute. It doesn't make. This is for me why I put more of the blame on Ange than I do the players. I think, and I'm just gonna pick Pochettino because it's the fashionable name. If we
Yeah,
took Ange out, Poch in for the last 18 days or however many days it was since we had the game, I personally believe we play fantastic football. We pick up a hell of a lot more points because I believe you'll have Johnson running in behind, Storm running in behind, and Solanke linking up in the box and almost playing Maddison as a second striker, almost like what Dele Alli did. How many times did we see Dele Alli in CDM role? We didn't. All his best games, he was up there next to Harry Kane. That's not comparing the two. That's just saying you've got the players for a certain system and we're playing them in a completely different system. So what do you expect?
mate, absolutely. I don't understand this with football fans nowadays. And I will say this is a lot of football fans. You sign players and then we want to knock them for what we didn't sign them for. You know, when I sign James Maddison, I sign a playmaker. I sign a guy that for the few years before he joined Spurs got 20 plus goal contributions every year in the Premier League. That's what I'm signing. I am not signing a guy that plays central midfield. People, again, need to understand the difference between an attacking midfielder and a central midfielder. I'm not signing a guy, that I want to run around like a headless chicken. When people say he don't track back, he doesn't. Well, he does track back, but it's not what I want from him. I don't sign my left winger to play up front. I don't sign my right back to play in central midfield. You know, I feel like we've got away from a very simplistic game. Football is very simplistic. And let's use your example of Poch. Right? It was very simple. He didn't ask Lloris to do anything other than keep the ball out the net. He weren't asking him to be brilliant with his feet. Just keep the ball out the net, give it to someone else. Toby and Jan didn't ask them to play on the halfway line. He asked them to be a solid centre-back pairing that were always within 5-10 yards of each other, that communicated, that built a partnership. Walker and Rose, simple. Get up, get back. Don't invert. Get up, get back. Simple. Centre mids, Wanyama and Dembele. Yeah? Break everything up. Win the ball. Stop the attacks. Give the ball to the four winners. Give the ball to the four. Give it to Son. Give it to Ali. Give it to Ericsson. Give it to Kane. And those four up front did their thing. We've now come away from that in football where we're going, right, well, we want him to invert, which means that if he inverts, he can then come out wide here, which means the winger tucks in and Maddison can float. What are we doing? Like, why are we overcomplicating this, James?
Oh, 100%. And the thing that I give Pochettino more credit than anything for is to be able to adapt. So, for example, one of the best players I've seen live is Moussa Dembele. He was a striker at Fulham. He was then a cam, and then he ended up playing CDM. So what I believe Poch did is he said, right, we've got Kyle Walker and Danny Rose, two of the best attacking fullbacks in the world, in my opinion, at their peak. In the world, they were fantastic at going forward. Yep. So what he said is, what we'll do, we'll drop Wanyama back, and we'll drop Moussa Dembele back. You guys protect everything. Kyle Walker and Rose, have your freedom, mate. Do what you've got to do. Yeah. Because we've got those two covering. If they're not covering, you need to get back. And the amount of times we saw overlap, and you'd see one drop in and cover. That, for me, is what wins your games. Not, well, actually, let's all go shapes, crosses, inside, outside, upside, downside. For me, if you have a player that plays continuously in one location. So for me, I'm lucky enough. My boy plays at a very high level. He plays for Norwich. He's a right winger, and his abilities are pace, crossing, shooting. That is for me what he's good at. But if they were to say, right, you know what, you're going to play right wing, but we actually want you to drop in as a CDM now and use your strength, even though you're probably one of the smallest kids on the pitch. What do you think? It's like, well, no, just let him do what he's good at. Like, let him do what he's good at. Basuma, for me, he's a number 8, maybe. I think he's a luxury player for me, which is if you play 3 midfielders, you could then drop Basuma in, but he needs to do a bit of everything, but have no role. The fact that you're saying, no, you cannot do that. You need to sit. You're taking away all his good movement and his vision forward, his attacking prowess away. And that for me is you're putting like leashes on players. You're putting restrictions on players. You're saying, I know you're good at all of this, but I don't want you to do any of that. Just do this one thing.
Playing to a player's strengths. It's almost as though this manager's going out the way to remove everybody's strengths. Porro and Udogie at their previous clubs were flying wingbacks, right? Udogie through Nazi, Porro for Sport in Lisbon. They were flying wingbacks who went on the outside.
Agreed.
We've got them both inverting as fullbacks. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Christian Romero is a centre-back that for Argentina, for Atalanta, this guy played in teams that were compact at the back. We've got him in a wide open, expansive defence. Well, listen, as much as I get at him, of course we're not going to see the best of Romero. You've got the only one that's probably played to their strengths. The only one in the entire team is probably Mickey van der Ven, which is why
I'd add one more, and I've said this before. I think he kind of fell on this as a mistake. And I think Jed Spence plays in his formation when he plays on the left because he cuts into his stronger foot, which is his right foot coming inside.
Sure. Absolutely. Completely agree with you. It works if you've got a righty playing on the left. Yeah. If you've got a lefty playing on the left and you're asking him to drive into midfield that way, it's the opposition know what you're going to do. And this is the thing. Again, when I looked at Harry Redknapp's team, right? Harry Redknapp's team was very similar. The back 4 was a back 4. At the time, you had Benoit Assou-Ekotto. I'm not saying Benoit was the greatest left back I've ever seen, but you know what? They didn't try and make him a midfielder. They left him in the back 4. Then you had Dawson, King, and Chorluka at right back, who tried to get forward when he could, but didn't have a lot of pace, but really solid because his job was, funnily enough, defending. He was a defender. Then you had the likes of Huddleston and Modric in midfield. Huddleston, who knew what his game... Huddleston's game wasn't running around like a lunatic. He wasn't built that way. He was a big lumbering lad. But what Tommy Huddleston could do, better than most I've seen, was ping a football about. His passing was sublime. So get it to Tommy Huddleston. Let him tick the ball over, right? It wasn't rocket science, any of this. Jermaine Defoe. Yeah. No one asked Jermaine Defoe to be running back into midfield. Jermaine, get on on the shoulder of the last man. We're going to feed you in the ball. Get your shots away. Football now, and especially by Ange, has become so convoluted and complicated that he can come out and say to fans, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We know what we're trying to do. Do you? Because you're losing every week, mate.
I think I've only ever seen one. And he quickly changed position, play that role, and that's Gareth Bale. He used to play left back, cut inside, and then he just had a wand. He wasn't a normal footballer. That left foot was ridiculous. So they went, you know what, that left foot's magic. We'll go left wing. Happened again and again and again. Look at Inter Milan. He's the only player that I've seen that can cut in and strike a ball, cut out wide, strike a ball. And then they went, you know what, let's swap you on to the right, see if you could do it there, because this left foot, and then he did it again. Other than that, I can't remember very, very, very few left-footed, left wing backs, left backs that could cut in and play football. I can't remember many. Like for me, it's it's one of those things. You've just got to play to your strength. And like I said with Spence, I think he fell on Spence by playing a right-footed left back, and now he's lauded for it.
I agree. I mean, let's be fair. This is a Jed Spence. This is a Jed Spence that he didn't even want. This is the Jed Spence he tried to sell, didn't add in the Europa squad. When he comes in and starts playing well, people going, and just getting no credit for developing Spence. Sorry, what? What? Look at the Jed Spence interview. I think the Jed Spence interview told you everything you need to know, right? Everything you need to know.
Yeah.
But look, let's talk about that midfield. The midfield, it's difficult, James. When we talk about the midfield, it's strange because we start with a midfield in games, but more often than not, it is very vacant in there, isn't it? It's like there's no midfield.
Yeah,
sorry,
I think this is the worst midfield that I've ever seen, technically on the ball. I don't think I've seen a worse midfield. I think this midfield that we have as a collective is probably the worst standard of footballing ability I've ever seen. The passing range, the vision, and I'm not putting Maddison in there because I think he's further forward. But I think Benton Corbasuma, Sarr, I mean, Archie Gray, I've seen a couple of nice long balls, but nothing else. I don't think I've ever seen a midfield give the ball away as much. So that needs to be looked at first of all for me. I think before even the defence, you need to stop giving the ball away and allowing people to attack you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But can I ask then? I'll bring Dan into this as well. Actually, I'll come back to this in 1 second. I've got a super chat and some memberships. Eamon has said, "Morning, guys. You look like each other." Is this
Albanian brothers?
I get this a lot with anyone else that's got a beard. Like anyone else that's got a beard, sort of hair that goes off, you look like each other. Thank you, Eamon. I reckon you look like us as well. I'm just going to guess what you look like. I reckon you've got a beard as well. Big up to my man Anthony Clark with a super sticker. Thank you very much, mate. Really, really appreciate that. Sorry, when you see me looking around, I'm just checking the puppy's not gnawing through one of the wires, which will ruin the whole YouTube operation. Big up to you, Anthony. Really appreciate you, bro. See your boys back to winning ways, and the star boy Saka back fit, ready for Real Madrid, eh? Big up to you. Aussie Ange Hater gave away 5 memberships. Very, very generous of you. Thank you very much. If you did get one, please say thank you. It's the nice thing to do. It's the kind and polite thing to do. Thank you, Aussie Ange Hater. Really appreciate you. And there is a question here, but I'm going to come back to it in a minute. So when the Spurs go marching in, I have saved your question. I like it, so I'm going to ask it in a minute. Welcome, Dan. Good morning. This is very early for you, mate. Are you all right? You shit the bed or what yourself? What's going on? You're on mute.
Yeah, he's definitely still asleep.
Does help. Yeah, no, just getting up, having my coffee and that. Got about an hour to kill, sort of thing, and then going to go pick our new dog up.
Oh, lovely. What are you getting?
Rottweiler.
Oh, love it. I love Rottweilers. I think
Best
they
dogs
are
you can get.
massively, massively misunderstood. Good owners, you've got a great dog, right? If you're a good dog owner, you've got a great dog.
They're the most
I would say
laid-back dog you'll ever get. As long as you don't cross its owner or cross where it lives, it'll just lay there and leave itself to itself. I've had 3 of them.
Can you bring it round to mine, please, Dan? My puppy needs a reality check of being kept in line. So if you could do that, that'd be amazing. You only live 10 minutes away from me. Dan, welcome to the show. Talking about tonight, look, the midfield area for me of any team is very important. And I think we can see that example more than anything by, if we look at a couple of teams in recent years. If you look at Liverpool, when Liverpool had Fabinho, Henderson, for example, Wijnaldum, they were a top team. When that dropped off, everyone went, oh, they need a whole new midfield. Gone and got McAllister, gone and got Gravenberch. They're a top team again, winning leagues. City, you've got Rodri and De Bruyne at their peak, top team. De Bruyne is old. Rodri's injured. Not the same team. With our midfield, Dan, do you think, I'm not saying any of our midfielders are great. I think we've had this conversation a million times. With that in mind, wouldn't you keep it simple? If you've got midfielders that aren't the greatest in the world, wouldn't you just let them be basic midfielders and keep it ticking over rather than having them running all over the place, trying to be back and forth? Wouldn't you just keep it ticking over? Keep it simple?
that's too much common sense, isn't it?
Sure.
That's too much common sense for our manager. It's too simple. We haven't got the best midfield out there. Haven't got the worst. But none of them, like most of the rest of the team, get played to their advantages, to what they're best at. We all know Basuma is not a defensive midfielder, or when he plays box to box, he's not a defensive box to box player. He's more get your ball, go forward with it. And he's good at charging with a ball forward and then letting off a quick direct ball and then getting on with it. And the others are just... I mean, I feel sorry for our midfield. It's all over the place all the time. I mean, whoever covers the box-to-box 6, 8 DM role at the same time, the mental sort of play in the middle, play as a 10, and also cover the left, and cover the right, and cover forward, and cover behind them. This is why I give Basuma a little bit of leeway, because he was a quality player. And then Ange's tactics hit him. But then he did have issues with other managers, whatever else. But until we stabilise that defence, we're going to get nowhere fast. But then even if we stabilise the midfield, we're not going to get nowhere fast.
But can we just say,
got to
Dan,
get some stability in there?
But this midfield, this is where I'm so confused. Like, again, you know me, I don't wax lyrical about footballers, right? Unless they need to be wax lyrical about. But this is the same midfield that for the first 10 games of last season, won 8, drew 2. The same midfield that finished 5th. The same midfielders that we've seen batter Villa, batter Man City, beat Liverpool. I fail to believe, whilst I don't think they're amazing, I fail to believe, guys, that there is no way we can get a tune out of some midfielders. I think the problem is every week it's a different midfield partnership. Every week. Like now people are saying they want to see Gray and Bergvall in there. Like, what do you do? Like, surely, what do you do?
I'm lost. I know what I would do. I know what I would do, but I don't know what he's going to do. So it's I think that every Spurs fan not has exactly the same opinion, but I think every Spurs fan has an opinion that is fairly close to each other. Either 5 at the back, or you play a flat back 4, 2 holding midfielders, and a cam, and then like I think every Spurs fan, if they've watched what I've watched, has picked more or less the same couple of teams here or there. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. That's why for me I'm Ange out, because I don't think he knows what he's going to do. Hence the team.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Dan, when you look at it now, like even someone like Bergvall, right? Let's look at Bergvall. You can clearly see there's something about him. Yeah, again, don't go overboard, but you can see he's got, he looks a footballer. Sometimes you look at a player and go, he looks the way he moves, the way he turns, looks a footballer. But again, he's not been coached. Even when he plays in midfield, I don't know if he's 6, 8, 10, because he's running around like a lunatic, trying to press over there and press there. And wouldn't it just be better, Dan, to say, right, okay, Bergvall and, I don't know, just for example, Bergvall and Basuma are your 2 midfielders tonight, and Maddison's your number 10. Wouldn't it better to say, right, Bergvall and Basuma, just sit. Like, you don't have to go crazy. Just be in that 20-yard area midfield. You know where Michael Carrick operated?
Yep.
Yeah? Just sit in that midfield box. I don't need you pulling right. I don't need you pulling left. I don't need you joining in up front. Just sit in that area. Give it to Maddison. Give it to Odeberg. Give it to Son. Let them do it. Isn't it that simple?
Well, it sounds that simple, but the manager don't make it that simple. I mean, in the formation that he uses and that, I just find it really hard to suss him out on what he wants this midfield to do, because it's all over the place. The midfield is all over the place all the time without fail. You'd want the 2 centre mids to come back and play as DMs half the time, where you'd have your inverted wing backs going forward. But he doesn't do that either. I just cannot work this manager out, come love nor money.
I just feel like there's so many shackles on this team. I would love for somebody to go in there and say, you're free. Wing backs be wing backs be wing backs, midfielders be midfield. Like for me, I think Bergvall, I've seen a lot of very good in Bergvall, but I've also seen a lot of, I don't want to sound like monogistic, but a bit of a kid trying to be the hero every single time he touches the ball, every time he's shutting a player down. Can I make this sliding tackle? Am I going to make this? Can I do your Bergvall?
Too much. That's too much.
Yeah. And I think again, this is where I'm saying there's too many shackles. You haven't got to play that final ball in the number 10 role and then get back in the number 6 role, make that slide tackle, and then get back up and make that final ball in number 10. Just chill, relax. You've got, like, if we're going by what you said, Basuma, you're going to be the number 6. You're going to sit here. Bergvall, you don't need to get back now and do all of this dog work. We've got 4 defenders and a sitting midfielder. Be free. And I just think, again, I think how many times have we all said Porro, best crosser in the team by a country mile. Solanke's good with his head. Okay, what we'll do is, Porro, you come inside. Solanke, you drop outside of the box.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Just free the players and let them play football.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, when the ball's coming at us, he can have the 2 centre mids come back and both be DMs if they have to, just for the meantime. Not play there all the time, but bring the whole team back to then get a counter attack when you get the ball back. Maddison he needs that space up there, and this is the one that really gets me going. And I think a few people don't see it, but I think a lot of people do see it now. And number 10, he needs his space, because he's there to be a playmaker. He's there to pass the ball. He's there for the direct ball, the short ball, the long ball. He's the creative player. What is he meant to create when he's got 2 centre mids 6 foot from him, 2 inverted wing backs? He's got the forward come forward, and he's got come backwards, and he's got the 2 wingers or inside forwards, whatever they are. He hardly has any options.
I agree, and I don't even think it's the other teams marking him that's the problem. I think it's our team are marking him. That's the problem. Our teams are just space invaders. So it's not even that their teams are playing well and saying, yeah, he had Maddison on toast today. It's the fact that if everyone's in a 50p space, how can he turn and play a ball? Because there's no one to turn and play a ball to. No one's making him that run in behind.
Mate, absolutely. Just quickly, I did see I actually quite liked this from my mate Matt, who's normally trolling me. It's a genuine question to the panel. I like that, just to let me know it's genuine. Isn't what Amorim is doing at United a warning sign that things could get worse? Matt. Do you know, somebody brought this up the other day. Do you know Amorim has lost 3 of his last 15, right? Everyone's talking about how bad Amorim's done. And by the way, I'm not going to sit here and go, Amorim's been amazing. Amorim's gone in there and picked up an absolute shit show of a football club. Can we agree on that on the panel? He's gone in and picked up an absolute mess of a football club. They don't have any good forwards. It's a mess. The club's a mess, right? Yeah. They've lost 3 of their last 15. They're above Tottenham in the Premier League. They're into the quarterfinals the same way we are. So when you're saying it's a warning sign that things could get worse, if Ruben Amorim, to be fair to Ange, if Ruben Amorim gets 2 years into the United job and is where he is now, I think we all agree, guys, that he's absolutely failed. But Ruben Amorim's had 1 signing as a left wing back in the January transfer window and somebody else's squad. Ange has had £400 million, 17 new players, 4 transfer windows, 2 pre-seasons, 1 year of no Europe. So when you're saying, can that be a warning sign? You do know Amorim's only just arrived there. What would you expect? I'll ask Matt and then I'll ask you guys. What would you expect, Matt, for him to have done? What would you expect so far from Ruben Amorim? You can clearly see he's changing the tactics. You can clearly see that in the summer they're going to have a clear out and get a lot of players in. What don't you understand? Managers need some time, but they don't need 2 years. So if this time next year we're sitting here and you come in this chat, Matt, and say, Man United are 13th, 14th, sure, sack Ruben Amorim. But you know what? The difference is Man U wouldn't let it get to that stage. Man U won't let him get 18 months in, 14th in the table. They'll sack him because their fans won't stand for it. Yeah, all of your 3 to 5 year nonsense, they won't stand for it. So, sorry, just what do you guys, just quickly on the Amorim thing?
But for me, I would say I don't know if Matt is the league don't matter. Let's focus on the Europa League or that. I don't know if he's one of those or not, so I can't say. But for what I would say is, if we lose to Chelsea, likely, I think we could all agree that that could very well happen. And then we lose to Southampton, and Wolves win, and the other teams get a draw. We are 17th. Could it get worse? There's only one more worse than that, and that's getting relegated. So, Matt, my question to you, mate, would be: could it get worse if we lose our next two games? We are points off of the drop, 17th. The only place it can go is getting relegated. So think about what you're saying, mate, really.
But
The thing that...
Sorry, Dan, just really quickly, I want to add one more point to this. I think what we've got to remember as well, not only is he working with Ten Hag's squad, but what we've got to remember is he's picked it up mid-season. He's had no pre-season. Now, when we say Amorim, I love the way people just look at Amorim. Why haven't we used an example of Vitor Pereira at Wolves? Why hasn't Matt used that example of a guy who's come in, done absolutely bloody brilliantly, moved Wolves, 9-10 points clear of the drop when they were in the bottom three when he got there? They could catch Spurs. Why are we not using Amorim? Why are we not using Glasner as an example?
Because there's only one guy that's doing worse as such than Ange. You could pick out David Moyes. How's he getting on? There is numerous that have come in, taken over and pushed them forward. So exactly. For me, it's very easy to pick on the one that hasn't had a best season very quickly into his season rather than look at all the others. It's kind of like a deflect where we're looking.
I think the other difference is with it is Amorim. You can't exactly say he's had like a fair time before he gets judged yet. I mean, some people are saying that Ange hasn't had a fair time. It takes 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, whatever. Yes, I get all that. I do get that point. But I still want to see progress. And as all I've seen is us coming backwards. I feel you give a manager at least 18 months, unless something has gone totally tits up, basically, before you can see if something's working or not. And
see, I actually agree with the 3 years.
Backwards.
I think that a manager should be getting 3-4 years. I completely agree with that statement. But there is a consequences to this. Like what you're saying, you have to see an incline. You have to see something. If you see something, if he went on and won 10 of the last 15, couple of draws, couple of losses, I'd say, oh, here we go. He deserves next season. Then next season it was we won 20 games, not 15 games. Oh, fair. Okay, you deserve next season. But when you're kind of going the opposite, why should I be giving you any more? You tell me why I should be backing you.
Exactly.
Because you're a Tottenham Hotspur coach,
totally
that's
agree.
different. I'll back Tottenham till the hills come home. But why should I back you?
As all we've seen is us basically go downhill, and it hasn't been slowly. It's been like a vertical drop off of a skyscraper in London. We have literally just jumped off the edge of a cliff. And now, if we'd have been doing all right and getting it together, and then all those injuries come in, but we still get a couple of results, but you can definitely see it's the injuries that are the problem. But no, we was losing stupid games before the injuries, and we've also been losing games after these big injuries, like we did last season as well. And when we keep getting done the same way, I'd say 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10 every game, and you can see that problem, but the manager is not doing it. And then when the manager comes out and makes the statements that Ange has made as well, that has done himself no favours, I can't see how someone can have faith in that. I mean, if you have fair play to you, but I can't.
The interesting thing for me as well is, we did this the other week. We looked at every manager's tenure in the Premier League, and the only ones that have had more than 3 years are managers that did well when they joined. And what I mean by that, right, is the trajectory has gone like that. We've got a manager where the trajectory's got, as I say, it's not gone like that, guys. It's gone, boom. It's gone like an Ella. It's gone so far backwards, it's unreal. The strange thing is, and again, you will get this when people talk about losing Harry Kane. But Harry Kane was never his to lose. This guy had a whole summer to set a team up. And I hate to break it to people. All of these teams above us, Brentford, Palace, Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton, they don't have Harry Kane. Sorry,
Yeah,
James. I know you guys thought that Harry Kane played for all of these football teams, but Harry Kane plays for one football team. My issue is this. Hang on, sorry, Dan, just real quick, James. My issue is this. Look at Unai Emery at Aston Villa. Unai Emery picked up a mess, right? And from month one, you could see a plan. It was implemented with the same players, made them difficult to beat, and they've done this. Ever since they've done this, haven't they, Villa? In every metric you look at, Aston Villa have gone cup competitions, European football, league positions, quality of sign. Ange has gone like that. So no, this whole managers need 3 to 5 years. Sure, if we're talking about to win something, if we're talking about to elevate, but you have to show some signs of progression. And we are showing regression on a weekly basis, guys. We're regressing. This isn't, oh, we've had a bad 2 months. We've had a bad 18 months.
So I would answer that to him. And I would say, absolutely, Harry Kane is a huge loss to any club in the world, regardless of who's the manager. For me, he's probably the best striker in the world at the moment. So that I'd agree with him with. Yeah, fair play, that's going to leave a big hole. But then what I would like to answer back at him with is Vicario is an unbelievable upgrade of a goalkeeper. Porro is an unbelievable upgrade of a right back. Van der Ven is an unbelievable upgrade of a centre back. Romero, same thing. You've still got Son. So we're going to take this one negative and go, but please, sir, when you've just upgraded 5-6 players in the other positions. For me, and so that for me makes it he's a comment absolutely irrelevant. But my question would be to you guys and whoever else. For example, when we had all these injuries, because I know that's a big thing that people say, but the injuries, you have to wait for the players to come back. Okay, what I would have said is, if we had Danso or Dragoshin or Archie Gray, and he said, you know what, all the players are out, centre backs, what I want you to do is I want you to sit on the edge of our box and just defend for your life.
Right.
Do what you've got to do. Keep those goals out. And if we still lost, I would be here going, you know what, Ange, I'm all for you. You stick with this club. I believe in you because you've noticed the problems. You've adjusted. You've said, we haven't got all our players, so I'm playing as deep as I can to keep the goals out and hoping that we can score a goal. I'd say, you know what, fair play. He hasn't. He's gone, Archie Gray's a midfielder. Archie Gray's a midfielder. We'll play him so high that everybody with half a yard of pace is going to get in behind. So for me, if he adjusted and said, we've got all these injuries, let's see what we can do even with these injuries. I'd say, you know what, you're trying your best, mate. You've got all these injuries. I think it's the injuries. But to be naive and just say, yeah, go. No matter what we do, go. I mean, and the other thing they say is about the 5th position. All right, well, take away the first 10 games of last season and tell me the progression.
Listen, as we said, right, in the last 38 Premier League games of football, Spurs have acquired 44 points. Right now, for anybody, before anyone says anything, everyone in the chat, let that sink in. 44 points from our last 38 games. This isn't a bad month. This isn't a bad quarter. This isn't we had injuries. 44 points from our last 38 Premier League games. We've lost 35 games in 18 months. 35. How many years do you think it will take Arsenal to lose 35 games of football in a season, in a number of seasons, right? Again, I'll say this to Matt, to any of these Ange fans, I'm all for giving a manager time. If this season with this squad, we were sitting 5th, 6th, let's bring up the Premier League table, right? Let me get rid of that comment. If we were sitting...
Yeah, I've got it up now. We are literally 5 points above 17th.
Right. So have a look at that, right? If we were sitting, I'll get rid of the top 4, whatever. If we were sitting in and around where Chelsea and Villa are, right, which is where we were last year, fighting for that top 4 position, I'd turn around and go, yeah, sure, the manager's got to have another season. we're sitting 14th. We've lost 15 games of football. Like, I don't care.
Have a look at our losses and Ipswich's losses. Have a look.
Ipswich's losses. Hang on.
Yeah, have a look how many losses we've won. And then them, we've lost 15. They've lost 18. Ipswich, a
Mate,
newly promoted club. Three different.
But James, my point is here. We can talk all day long about losing Harry Kane. By the way, Harry Kane left this football club 2 years ago. We've got to get over it. This is like pining for your ex-girlfriend who has now met someone else, got married, had a kid, and we're still going, but I love her. She's gone. She's moved on. Let it go, right? Harry Kane left 2 years ago. Even when we didn't have Harry Kane, I don't remember Spurs losing 15 games in 29. Not having a prolific striker like Harry Kane cannot be the excuse, guys, for losing this volume of games.
Yeah.
Oh,
what about when we had Soldado? What did we lose when we had Soldado and Vincent Janssen?
With the Harry Kane thing, people saying like Harry Kane carried us and everything else. To an extent, yes, he did. I agree. And so he hasn't got Harry Kane, this and that. I agree with what you say, Savva. He never bloody had Harry Kane. Yeah, so he knew he already had to make his team work without Harry Kane. But people say the problem is we haven't got Harry Kane to carry us. Well, if you look at our goal ratio, scoring goals ain't really the problem. So the fact that Harry Kane's not there, I can quite easily, obviously if he was there, we'd have won significantly more games because there would have been chances he'd have took. But we're scoring goals. Our problem is in midfield and at the back and letting in the goals.
Agreed.
And this is where I say he's got a tenfold better defence than Mourinho, than Conte had.
Yep.
And Nuno, yeah, he's got a significantly better defence than them. So we're still scoring goals, yet we're letting in goals that we shouldn't be letting in, and our problem is at the back. And if he played with a more solid at the back as such, we'd be winning more games.
Well, to back up what you're saying,
still say is Harry Kane. Harry Kane ain't been the problem.
No, what you're saying, Liverpool have scored 70 goals. Man City have scored 57, and then we are third with 55.
Yeah,
so
it's not the Harry Kane
factor.
Have a look at this, James. Have a look at this, right? So I always bring this up because this is the quickest way to dispel myths of people that just shout. They shout, but they haven't done their homework, right? If you look at this, so the fourth column from the left is the defeat. So as you can see there, it says at the bottom, 38, 26, 12. 12 is the number of defeats, right? Let's see how many defeats we had in seasons when we didn't have Harry Kane, all right? And what I mean by that is, let's have a look here, all right? So you can see here, so far we've lost 15 with 9 games to go, right? So last year we didn't have Harry Kane, 12 defeats. So we're already 3 worse than last year with 9 games to go. Harry Kane played in this season, we lost 14, right? 11, 12, 11, 13, 7, 4, 6, 12, 11, 8, 9, 8, 10, 15. There you go. 15, which is where we are now. The last time we lost 15 games, right, was in 2008. Since then, Harry Kane didn't play in this season, in this season, in this season, in this season, in this season. I think he came in this season, right? What happened there? Now, we can go beyond that. Harry Kane wasn't at the football club in this season, this season, this season, this season, and then we get to some darker times. So why did all those managers that didn't have Harry Kane, why did all those managers not lose this volume of games, concede this volume of goals? If it's purely we lost Harry Kane, why? Right? Look at AVB. He lost Gareth Bale, who arguably had a bigger impact if we're going to, like, for carrying the team.
No, there's no argument there.
Right. So let's have a look at the season. When did he go? So Gareth Bale left us, if I'm not wrong. Gareth Bale left us in this season, right? I think he left after this season. Right? The year after, we lost 11 games. We've already lost 15 this year. That year, we won 21 games. We won 21 games without Gareth Bale, without Harry Kane, and we only lost 11. What is the excuse? These fans, I'm guessing someone like Matt must be very young to not remember any of this. Harry Kane is a once-in-a-generation player. All the teams in the Premier League are playing without Harry Kanes. Yeah? Look at the Premier League table. Bournemouth have lost 10 games. They don't have a Harry Kane. Fulham have lost 9. Brighton have lost 7. Villa have lost 8. Chelsea 8. None of them have a Harry Kane. Sorry. When I vent, I need to let go. I just find this excuse 2 years down the line absolutely shocking. I find it so pathetic.
I was just about to say it's absolutely pathetic that they're hanging on to the Harry Kane for the reason that this manager's a load of crap.
It's baffling.
Well, again, on the other side of it, if we're that destroyed without Harry Kane, aren't they usually the ones that say, yeah, but we finished 5th last season?
Yeah. Now it's Son.
Now
it's Son. It was Kane.
Who signed Dominic Solanke? Who signed Dominic Solanke?
Exactly.
And said he was his number 1 choice all summer.
Question for Matty Boy. Who signed Dominic Solanke?
And then saw how much of a good previous season he'd just had, his only good season, by the way, decided what he was good at, and then comes and brings him to the team to play him in a total different momentum and a total different way. It just makes no sense to me. I still can't get my head around the Solanke thing.
It's just, I've never known a manager, guys, that gets so much, like, if it's not the Harry Kane excuse, it's Son. If it's not that, it's excuses. If it's not that, we're playing 2 games a week. If it's not that, it's something else. If it's not that, it's Daniel Levy. I hate to break it to people. Poch had to deal with this. AVB had to deal with this. Sherwood had to deal with this. Jose, Conte, Nuno, Hoddle, Ramos, they all had to deal with this. None of them were backed like this. Jose Mourinho, right? You must have heard me say this before. Definitely you have, Dan. Jose Mourinho, in his 18 months at Spurs, had a horrific squad, right? Only 3 managers in the Premier League for 18 months got more points than Jose Mourinho. Our fans couldn't wait to get rid of him. Yep. They were, get him out. He's shit. Yet with Ange, don't worry, just keep losing. Just keep conceding goals, keep losing. There'll be another excuse when we lose another 3 or 4 or 5 games this year and we've lost 20 Premier League games. There'll be another excuse. I just don't get it. I'm so confused.
Imagine being that I don't want to say stupid because that's not fair, but imagine being that naive that whenever you come across a problem that you just say, no, it don't matter because of X, Y. I mean, for me in my job, if you break a spanner, now, sorry, love, I'm going home. Why? My spanner's broke. Well, no, hold on. What about me boiler? No, don't matter. My spanner's broke. I'm going home. Anyone works in an office? Well, the keyboard's broke. Well, you don't have to have the best of the best. Can you get by with this? I see what I could do. No, I'm going home. Nothing counts anymore because my keyboard's broke. It's just stupid. This is the only time I've ever seen it where it goes, but. Face the facts. He's been shocking for a year and a half. Like, come on. Even he's saying that they're being crap all season in the league. So how have we got people on here sticking up for him when he's saying, yeah, the Premier League would be crap?
It still comes to that point that when there's even been games where there's been people like me have said, do you know what? Maybe he's getting the picture now. Maybe he's starting to see the way to do it. But then he just goes straight away and plays his system again when it has been blatantly obvious the 5 best games that we've basically played counter-attacking direct football. Haven't used inverted wing backs. Yeah, that was more down to the other team not letting us use the inverted wing backs. We know that now. But he still doesn't want to see it. It's his way or the highway. And, well, sooner or later, he's going to be gone. I just don't get the amount of excuses that's made for him either. Now, I can understand if, say, Conte or Mourinho's not doing good, and this is where I cut Ange a bit of slack, I believe they deserve to cop it like Romero cops it. And people say, what's that? Well, Romero's meant to be a world-class player. So I keep getting told by everyone and a World Cup winner. Mourinho and Conte are two of the best managers out there, or have been. Jose Mourinho, arguably the best manager there's ever been, in my opinion. Arguably. So, yeah, they're going to get judged that much harder. They're going to get judged that much higher because they're meant to be of a standard up there. When Ange comes in and he's not doing quite as good, yeah, you can give him the bit of slack. The best he's ever done is play at Celtic, whatever else, and all that. But then when you come to the point where you're like 14th in the league, joint 16th, whatever, and you've seen nothing but go downhill, how can you keep defending that? When you can see that he's basically refusing to adapt. When your manager sits there and blatantly says it's about entertainment, I want excitement, I don't mind conceding goals. How can you have faith in that?
Dan, you've hit the nail on the head. This is what I don't get. By the way, I'm only going to go for another 5 minutes, guys, this morning. You've hit the nail on the head. It's not that we're just doing poorly, Dan, and the manager's admitted it. You know, it's not like all season he's going, I'm trying, I'm doing this. This manager's admitted, I don't want undeserved points. I don't want to control the games. I want the games to be wide open. I want us to just entertain, by the way, which he doesn't even do. Yeah? Matt, we would love to be the new Chelsea, wouldn't we? The new Chelsea. Do you mean the Chelsea that for 20 years won multiple Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, FA Cups, Super Cups, League Cups? Sorry, guys, I don't want to be Chelsea, but I take that success. Wouldn't you?
Aren't they the most successful club over the past 21, 22 years?
Yeah, I think City just overtook them, but yes.
Was it last?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Most successful London club, that's for sure.
Well, no, up until last season, they've been the most successful team in England.
But look, the Ange fans, to be honest, they don't want that.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
Not that.
I don't want to win anything.
They're all hounded out. Listen, let's be fair. When we're talking about hounded out, Conte, I've maintained this from the moment he joined. He didn't want to be here. Conte, for about 6 months, was giving press conferences that might as well have said, up yours. Right? It might as well have said, up yours, Daniel Levy. Every press conference was a dig. He knew what he was doing. He didn't want to be here. He weren't hounded out. Right? Jose, you could say, yes, but there was uproar when he was sacked because it's sacked before a cup final. Nuno, yeah, hounded out. I don't doubt it. Ange absolutely deserves to be hounded out. He's doing a bad job. I'll ask this question. Can anyone name me a club, right, that doesn't do this? You know, when we always talk about sacking managers, oh, we don't want to be a club that constantly sack. Who doesn't? Who doesn't sack managers all the time?
I hate to say it,
in this day and age,
you've got something building, then you have to, no? Or do you just keep stick?
Liverpool and City are the only two clubs that I can think of that have had their managers, obviously until Klopp left of his own accord. Liverpool and City.
Arsenal. And Arsenal.
And possibly. So we're talking about the big clubs. We're talking about the big clubs here, right? Who else, though? Newcastle. All right, they've had Eddie Howe for 3 years, right? Because Eddie Howe's done a bloody good job. Right? Eddie Howe's done an amazing job. Unai Emery's coming up to 3 years because he's doing a bloody good job. Thomas Frank's been at Brentford for years because he's done a bloody good job. Arteta at Arsenal. Whatever, the Arsenal fans can have the debate about him not winning titles, but they are in the top 2 every year for 3 years, right? You beyond that, who else? Everyone else changes their manager when they're not doing well. But he did. It's true.
When someone's not doing their job.
When was he 15th? When?
Yeah. When did Arsenal look at finishing 15th? I know they were 8th and 9th, but the one thing that he had on his back to cover his arse was he won an FA Cup. Whereas those first 10 games with Ange, a lot of Spurs fans basically use that as Arteta's FA Cup, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what And I'm sorry, an FA Cup and 10 games are very, very different. But with Arteta, you still saw progress. He's adapted every season. Now, no, it hasn't gone right and he's got it wrong in a few things, but he's changed his style nearly every season. You've seen he can adapt during games. He changed his whole system when he played against us before.
For a few weeks.
And as all we've seen is the manager just want the same thing, the same way, not adapting, not changing. Sometimes you just got to be man enough to cut your losses and walk. Yes, okay. We don't want to start a new manager. I get all that, but just cut your losses and start again. Just because we've got a new manager coming in, just because we have a new manager, it doesn't mean we've got to start a new process if that's what we're going through, a new project. Does it? Just because you've got a new manager, it doesn't mean the project has to start again if we've even bloody got one, or does it?
No, I completely agree. For me, the only way Ange walks out with any credit is if he wins the Europa League and then quits.
Yeah.
That is the only way, because next season, in my opinion, we're going to go back to exactly what we're doing now. So for me, the only way he gets any credit is winning the Europa League and going, you know what, I'm out of here, boys. I told you I always win in my second year and leave. Because his reputation is tarnished. I mean, they were bottom half for a few weeks. Mate, have we been top half this season?
But this is the thing. When we're going, oh, he had them 15th for a few weeks. We've been bottom half most of the season. Like, what are we talking about here? And then, yeah, unfortunately, I love my mate, Matt. Yes, Matt. Eddie Howe is not attainable. Why would Eddie Howe leave Newcastle United? He's done an amazing job. He's done a brilliant job. And they are, if I'm not wrong, I'm going to end the show now. Newcastle United are currently in the Champions League positions in the Premier League table. Newcastle have won a trophy. They're in the top 5 of the Premier League. They've got, look at the coaching. And Matt, here's the difference. Unlike your mate, Ange, look at the way Eddie Howe has coached Isak, Joe Linton, Gordon, Barnes, Willock, Dan Burn, Fabian Schär. Look what he's doing with Lewis Hall. Look what he's doing with Livramento. This is a coach. This guy. It's Matt. What I don't get with you is it's almost like you know the answer to the questions. You know why Eddie Howe is such a good manager is the complete opposite to what Ange is. You know that. You know, if Eddie Howe came into Tottenham with this squad, we would be where Newcastle are. We would be where Newcastle are because he's hard to beat, sets up for the opposition he's got. He's adaptable. Look at the 2 legs against Arsenal in the League Cup, guys. In the first half against Arsenal at the Emirates, he attacked them. Right? They got their 2 goals. Second half, he went, right, everyone behind the ball. And he shut up shop. Right? That's a manager that went, right, we've done the hard work. Now we've got to do this hard work. But our manager would be 2-0 up at the Emirates and go, keep going. Just fly forward. And that's the difference.
And it's not even the big name. I mean, the big name players that you called there, I think are very good players. But even when you look at, for me, I personally, in my opinion, think Jacob Murphy is bang average, if not crap. But he has got him in a system that works for him, so he's probably getting 120% out of a player that we would be getting 70% out of. So for me, your crap player or bang average player is being played in exactly the position that he's good at. So you're getting 110%, 120%, which takes you from an average player to a solid player.
It's as simple as that. No, James, I've said it the whole time. Go and get a mediocre team, but play everyone to the right formation, right system, right style, what they're best at. You'll make that mediocre team look good, at least, if not very good.
Of course.
But we don't seem to want to see that. And a lot of people don't.
Can you bring Matt? So my issue here then, Matt, is who signed these players? Who signed these players? Whose players are these?
But hang on, James, but this isn't even true. When you're saying Newcastle have balance, look, there are players at Newcastle now that were there when Eddie Howe turned up and they were rock bottom of the table. Joe Linton was a centre forward. He turned him into one of the best midfielders in the Premier League that gives them balance. Fabian Schär, everyone was saying how crap Fabian Schär is. He's now week in, week out doing a solid job for Newcastle. Joe Willock, like you just said there, Murphy on the wings. Sorry, Matt, you're not getting it, are you? Newcastle United have balance because of Eddie Howe, right? When you're saying he would struggle with our squad, watch what he would do with Basuma. He would turn Basuma into what Joe Linton is. He would have him in his right position, working hard, driving forward with a ball, right? He would have the fullbacks defending, right? He would have the centre-backs a pair. Matt, I can't keep doing this with you, mate. The excuses for your Lord and Messiah, Ange, are getting pathetic. If you can't see by now how bad he is as a football coach, then you, as I said, you have the Spurs you deserve. Guys, I do need to end the show there. I am going to chuck everyone over to Never a Foul. I'm joining Never a Foul right now. Feel free to join them. If you do come and join, no, stop lying. No. Joe Linton was a striker when he was signed, Matt. He was a striker when they signed him. Eddie Howe has turned him into a failed striker, into a top midfielder. You're a troll. Right. When you get over to Never a Foul, please say Savva Raid. Really does help. Thank you very much, James. You're a legend. Thank you. Danny, you're a legend. Thank you.
See you later.
Take care, guys. And Spurs, I think, heart says 2-2, head says 3-1 Chelsea.
Yep.
No. Guys, take care. Much love. And as always, Ange out. But come on, you Spurs. Big up to Aris, who's just stuck in a cheeky little super chat. A 96th minute winner from Aris. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Take care and goodbye.